Spider-Man, a web of responsibility.
Bitten by a radioactive spider, a shy teen boy acquires the proportional speed, strength, and agility of a spider, but he soon discovers that having power means having obligations and a duty to help and protect others. Ouch! Peter Parker felt a surprising sting of pain. A spider bit him as he walked through a science exhibit his class was visiting on a field trip. The spider was not a regular, ordinary spider. It had crawled through one of the science experiments and become radioactive. Peter Parker soon discovered the spider gave him amazing powers, including extra strength and the ability to climb up walls. Peter decided he could use these powers to make money. He made a costume and planned to become rich and famous as Spider-Man. One night after going on a television show, Peter had the chance to stop a robber, but he did not. Sadly, that robber then killed Peter's uncle, Ben. Peter learned an important lesson that night. With great power, there must also come great responsibility. Spider-Man was not being responsible when he decided to let the robber get away. After his uncle died, Spider-Man said to Iron Man, "When you can do the things that I can, but you don't, and then the bad things happen, they happen because of you." Spider-Man was talking about consequences.
There can be good and bad consequences. If you study hard for a quiz, a good consequence would be getting an A on it. There are also bad consequences. If you forget to feed your pet a few times, your parents might decide that you cannot keep it. Spider-Man had a very bad consequence. If Spider-Man had used his powers to stop the robber, his uncle never would have died that night. Responsibility means something you are expected to do or a way you are supposed to act. Swinging around the neighborhood. Not every superhero needs to be out saving the entire planet. When Spider-Man started out, he focused on his neighborhood in Queens, New York. Every neighborhood has its own needs and problems. It is great to think about how to make the whole world better, but do not forget to be responsible for ways to improve your neighborhood. It's where you live, so you might as well make it as awesome as you can. Kaboom! Consequences are the outcome of your actions.
Ways to help your neighborhood. Participate in food and clothing drives. Help out elderly neighbors or volunteer at a nursing home. Support nature and wildlife. Make a bird feeder or grow a butterfly garden. Pick up litter to keep streets and sidewalks clean. Have a yard or bake sale to raise money for local causes. Taking responsibility. An important part of learning responsibility is accepting the bad consequences as well as the good ones. It is easy to say, "It's not my fault," especially if you do not want to get in trouble. You can accept all consequences by taking responsibility.
A Spider-Verse of responsibility. There's a Spider-Man for every Earth. On one Earth, you'll find Peter Parker. On another, you'll find Miles Morales. Gwen Stacy is known as Ghost Spider on her Earth. And we can't leave out the talking pig Peter Porker, also known as Spider-Ham. Each one of these worlds is different, and that means the heroes have different responsibilities and challenges. Your friends will have different responsibilities than you do. Maybe you have more chores than they do, or they spend less time on their homework than you do. It will probably feel unfair. Try not to get distracted by what they are doing. Their world isn't the same, or better or worse than yours. Keep focused on what you can do. You won't be any less of a Spider-Man if you're doing everything you can to be the best Spider-Man of your own world.
Missing out sometimes. Being Spider-Man meant Peter had to occasionally miss out on fun times with his friends. That comes with being responsible. You might not get to go out to play until your chores are done. You might have to stay home and watch your little brother or sister instead of hanging out with your best friend. It might not seem fair, but it is part of being responsible. Responsibility gets easier as you grow up. It can feel like a lot as a kid. Spider-Man was only a few years older than you when he took on all his responsibility. If he can do it, you can too.